I wanted to get your take on LeBron, because you've played against him since he was a young pup. What's the biggest difference of him then and now in terms of how he just keeps getting better?
Dedication. He has goals in mind, what he wants to accomplish, and it's clear that he wants to be the greatest. You know, when he's saying, you know, I want to play so many years, like I'm saying, I want to play as long as I can. He wants to be the greatest. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, those are the people that we throw around. He wants to be there. So I think now he's striving for that, and he's asserting himself more offensively, which I think he's needed. You've said that a long time ago. It's like, yeah, you're a great player, but if you want to be the best, do it on both sides.
I got to tell you, before I even ask my first question, I owe you a personal debt of gratitude. One of the greatest moments of my professional career was covering him and the Toronto Raptors versus Allen Iverson and the 76ers in the Eastern Conference semifinals when they went 7 games. Max, Molly, it was like a 4 or 5 game stretch where one or the other dropped over 50. It was unreal. One of the greatest, some of the greatest moments I've ever experienced.
I think it was the same season. Correct me if I'm wrong. I saw
they went to the finals.
I saw you guys playing in the All-Star game together, you and AI, and I remember thinking, damn, I wish they. It looks like when they're playing together, they wish that they could always play together.
Believe it or not, it was supposed to be Iverson and Tracy McGrady, but that deal got nixed at the last minute because it was supposed to be Iverson with Tracy McGrady. But anyway, let me get to this question. You just brought up LeBron. What are your thoughts as to whether or not he ever has the chance to eclipse MJ as the greatest ever?
It's tough to do, and I've heard a lot of players say he's in his own lane. Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. Kobe Bryant is Kobe Bryant. LeBron James is a special player, and he's a player that we have not seen before because he can do a lot of things. I think at the end of the day, LeBron can do a lot of things very well. I mean, Michael Jordan was probably the greatest to put on a pair of basketball shoes. Kobe Bryant was probably right there with them, and LeBron is on the way. And it's tough, like right now, he's still playing the game. So let's talk about this when he's done and see what he's accomplished.
It's one of the things that LeBron's done, and you mentioned it, is he's evolved his game.
Absolutely.
And I'm wondering, because you were a guy who, I've actually wondered about you, because at your best, you were one of those guys when your eyes were on Vince Carter, you thought, who could be better? Like, it doesn't get any better than this. And yet you accepted, you had the ego to accept that your body was changing, your athletic ability was changing, and you evolved your game to remain a valuable player. Like, you've never not been a valuable player in the NBA. LeBron has done the same thing, and he's maintained his position as #1 while he's done it. What is the key to that evolution as a player, to being able to accept that you're changing and evolve?
Being able to accept it, humble yourself, and you sit at home and you hear everybody, your friends like, oh man, you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be that, you're supposed to get the ball, you're supposed to play all these minutes, but at the end of the day, do you want to survive in this league? Because we see superstars being traded now, so it's no big deal to an organization to say, hey, we're going to move on, and that's one of the things. So I was like, hey, I want to last in this league, so what do I have to do? I have to continue to put the work in. I have to continue to make sure my jump shot, because I don't get as many touches. I don't have the ball in my hand as much. So for me, it was like, okay, make sure that jump shot is pure when the ball swings your way.
It's interesting, and I'm not counting this as a negative. Please don't get me wrong. But I think about you and LeBron James in this sense, and I want to know whether you all, both you and Max, can correct me on this. When I think about the MJ and the Kobes, and I'm asking myself, what is it that I loved about them? Forget their extraordinary talents. That's a given. It was the fact, forget them wanting to be the best. That didn't tell the whole story. They had this attitude where if somebody even mentioned you in the same breath as them, they wanted you, period. When I think about LeBron, you to a lesser degree, but to LeBron, it was like y'all were content being great players for the betterment of the team. And the individual animosity towards an opponent, it had nothing to do with them. Somebody mentioning somebody in the same breath as y'all gonna go out there and do your thing. But y'all didn't care that much about the individual matchup because you were about the team and winning. And I guess for me as a competitor, I often wonder, is that an accurate depiction? And how do you feel about people who might prefer that assassin, per se?
Well, like I say, we all approach the game a different way. So I remember like, oh, you're not Michael Jordan. You don't have the scowl on your face. You don't do this. You know, all of that stuff. It was always said.
Right.
But my approach to the game is the same. So I'm not one to get into him against him, or where you're putting me against, let's say LeBron or whoever. I'm gonna do my thing. My job is to go out there and do for my team.
Is
Now,
LeBron that way?
I think so. He doesn't get into saying it publicly.
Got it.
Behind closed doors, I guarantee he has on his list of things to do for the day is kill that guy.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And it was the same way, but it doesn't have to be.
You don't have to tell the whole
now
world
it's like,
about it.
now it's like, oh, he didn't say it on social media, so maybe, But
You gotta
obviously,
broadcast it.
Yeah.
When I played, and there wasn't no social media,
Yeah.
first of all. But at the same time, in that locker room preparing for the game, when I know 20 minutes on the clock, my job is to what? Outduel my opponent. But I didn't have to go tell the media when they were in the locker room 45 on the clock.
Yeah, you never really said it.
I never.
And
it wasn't my
that's-
thing.
right.
It wasn't my thing.
Yeah,
I didn't.
some
I didn't
people
really need to
move in silence.
Yeah, that's just how I work.
You get the job done. I want to ask you about the game tonight and the series. So who do you have tonight, and who do you have the rest of the way winning it?
I actually think Cleveland can pull it off tonight. And not because I'm here. Not because I'm here. I'm okay with y'all booing. I've been booed before. But one thing about it, I think we've seen Cleveland play better at home
course.
and more comfortable. I think adding Rodney Hood is a plus.
Yes.
He's hungry. Now he has something to prove.
Kyle Korver. Yeah.
Kyle Korver has something to prove. But these guys play well at home. One thing I do want to see from LeBron that we talked about, and I think this will add to his greatness, make his guys better. Make his guys better, whatever that is.
Right.
And we talk about him being frustrated and they showed him on the bench. Yes, we're always gonna see LeBron and his reaction. But he has to understand now, okay, he's allowed to be frustrated. Now pull his guys aside and say, man, I need you.
Got it.
I'm throwing you the ball, shoot it. Like you said, get them the ball early. I agree with that.
That's right.
Get them the ball earlier.
Instead of holding
Let
it
them
so
get rolling. Let them get rolling instead of giving them what we call time bombs. And then from there, if it's not working, be the great LeBron James.
Yeah.